And welcome back to Kelowna Now Live. It's Jason Mann here with Lucas Griffin of Secure-Rite Mobile Storage. And Lucas, welcome to Kelowna Now.
Great to be here. Love talking with you guys, so thanks for having me.
Of course, Kelowna Now, home of Best of Kelowna, and Lucas and his company Secure-Rite have been our top sponsor here for many years, and we appreciate your sponsorship of Best of Kelowna. Can't do a program like this without you. Of course, the new publication is out. You can pop by the offices here if you want. You'll see them around town, listings of just every category of business that you'd want to see, the top performers, the most popular and the best in their class, including Secure-Rite.
Awesome. Yeah, we were honored to land gold, so that felt good. And we just love being the title sponsor and celebrating excellence in Kelowna. One of the things I love about Best of is we kind of celebrate it year round until the next year. And that's different from a lot of business awards where this one just keeps giving and we keep highlighting the top businesses in each category throughout the year. I love that.
Every day somebody wants to know what the best is, so we're there for them.
Awesome.
This is not so much about Best of Kelowna. It's really about Secure-Rite, getting to know you a little bit more, getting to know your business a little bit more. I think it's an exciting space. I think it's filled with so much creativity, and it's such an unusual canvas that you have to work with, if you will, right? So maybe why don't we start? What kind of trends are you seeing in terms of storage container usage? It's not just for storing stuff anymore, is it?
No, it's not. And I mean, that's still a huge part of what we do. In a sense, 20 years ago, Secure-Rite and a few competitors revolutionized the moving world. So instead of your traditional U-Haul or hiring high-end movers, we kind of brought a new option to the market. And that in and of itself was very innovative and exploded. But now we're seeing people use containers for so much more, and it's a lot of fun. We do a lot of work in the industrial field, so we'll do like chemical storage units with spill containment built in. We'll do mobile offices and workshops, some really neat stuff in mining and oil and gas and just general industry, electrical rooms. We call them e-houses, which is kind of a neat name. And yeah, the only limitation of what we do with containers is the imagination of our clients. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a few storage container companies out there. Obviously, there's demand for it. So it's fast-changing industry in many ways. Technology is playing a role. How do you stay ahead in an industry that is changing and evolving so much and is driven so much by customer demand?
Yeah. That's a question we ask ourselves all the time. Like, how do you stay ahead? We have some really strong competitors, some really good competitors, and they tell us that we're their best as well. So that's a compliment coming from your competition. Ultimately, it comes down to people and how you treat people. And like we at Secure-Rite have this embedded value in community, but also in people, because we really believe people are important. We believe they're valuable. And so everything we do comes from that angle. And I think when you treat people in that way and they know that they're being valued, that does give you a leg up. It takes a lot of energy and effort to treat people that way. And people are sometimes exhausting, but we just try to always treat people the way they deserve to be treated. So I know that sounds trite, but we live it and breathe it at Secure-Rite. We also try to do everything with excellence. And man, I don't know if times are changing, but excellence seems to be underrated. It is really hard to deliver excellence these days. And so that's something we're passionate about constantly. And then you mentioned technology. I don't know if you want me to dive in here, but we believe that technology also helps you deliver that next level of service. And so we're always pushing the boundaries there. We're actually implementing a new software program that we think will enhance the client experience. We're going to have stuff like Client Portal where they can do a lot of their own bookings and admin stuff online. People are working around the clock right now, and if it's for your personal stuff, you want to maybe do that stuff in the evening, and a portal would allow you to do that. Online e-commerce. None of these are new words or new concepts, but in the storage space they are, and we're trying to be cutting edge.
Okay. And as people are changing the way they're using them as well. So I imagine that's quite a thing, a moving target in a way.
It is a little, yeah.
Yeah. You talk about treating people really well. I mean, that extends to not just customers, but I feel like in your case, you demonstrate the community as well with, say, something like Best of Kelowna. That's a gift, to the community in a way.
Oh, Thanks, Jason. Yeah, and we're always looking for ways to give back. I mean, if community is a core value, if we do truly believe in prosperity for purpose, we've got to be on the lookout for ways to do that.
Is there anything that you do otherwise in the community that you're proud of or that you would like to promote or share with people?
Wow. So we're involved in a few different, quite a few different outreaches, but one I would say that is near and dear to us is the Central Okanagan Food Bank. We do as much as we can with them. While everybody's wallets are getting tighter right now with the inflation we've seen over the last few years, more people are using the food bank than ever before. And so we've, since day one, supported the Central Okanagan Food Bank and actually food banks in Surrey in the Lower Mainland and Calgary, where we both have locations in those cities. We just think it's a really practical way to help. And turns out that containers are a great way to store food. So we do stuff like last weekend, Cram the Can. There was a Secure-Rite container outside Save On Foods here in Kelowna. And as people left, they were donating items that went straight to the food bank and were distributed through that organization.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm fascinated by the industry, the space, and the canvas that you have to work with. What are some of the most creative ways that customers have utilized storage containers for? Do you have any anecdotal memories or recollections?
Yeah. Well, if we're just talking storage, there's been some pretty cool stuff. If we're talking containers that we've turned into other items, the list gets even longer. So I remember one day we went to pick up a container and it was so heavy we couldn't even lift it with our truck because it was filled with molds for ceramics. Now, you wouldn't think, but a container full of ceramic molds is like 50,000 pounds. So we couldn't even move that container. So that was pretty creative and frustrating. Similar story, we once picked up a container and this guy just had a huge library of books. So a container full of books. Again, we had to pull in like the biggest equipment that we had. So those are some of the zany things you find stored in containers. On the flip side, in terms of creative uses of containers, a lot of, I always hear feedback from people, hey, I was up Cypress and I saw a couple of your containers there. There's a pizza kitchen made out of a 40-foot open side container. That's really cool. Mix of wood and steel, and they've built a big pergola, really cool. And then just beside it is a 16 by 40 residential unit that we built for British Properties, and they're kind of building kind of like a mini home community on Cypress. So those are a couple of really cool things in the Lower Mainland. In Kelowna here, the E-Taco stand beside Earl's, man, they serve great tacos and margaritas, and Bright Red in the alley beside Earl's there. We do a lot of job site stuff too, I've already mentioned, but offices at work sites often are containers now because they're so durable, easy to move around. You can actually stack your office on top of your storage container. And so a lot of contractors love that as well. So yeah, those are just some, and the list is long.
What about homes, a modular home, container home trend that sort of you see, but you don't really see it a lot, really, though? It's interesting.
Yeah. So we think containers are a great solution to the housing crisis that we're facing, great solution as a carriage home or maybe a secondary home. We actually are certified to build to CSA A277, which is the modular home code or factory built buildings. So we're there and we're ready to roll. Part of the issue with any sort of modular building is you're limited by zoning. I think with container building, it's similar in price per square foot to traditional buildings. So if you're going to do it, it's because you love the steel, glass, wood blend. Like, we make beautiful buildings. Where we really shine is that portable, relocatable space. So we do a lot of stuff for remote work, whether it's research or oil and gas or mining. That's where containers seem to really shine. I think if we can have a long look down the road at building codes and what you can do with containers, I think we can provide affordable housing. It's just going to take some pretty high level discussions, and those are in progress, but not final yet.
Yeah. Pop-up shops, event organizers. Do you have customers in that space at all?
We really love that space. It's one of our faves because containers are so good for that temporary, secure, funky kiosk or trade show booth. So yeah, we've worked with some big brands like Red Bull, like Bell, like Telus, and these containers work so good. So we have a line of kiosks, so windows that open up with a tray, with basically a bar, so you can use it to serve, you can use it as a ticket window. Those are very popular.
And so if I was an event organizer in Kelowna, I could actually access that right now. Like I could plan my event around, hey, I need to have a bar, I need to have a bar with some storage or whatever the case might be. I could actually, that is a ready to go solution right now.
It is,
nice.
Yeah. So we keep some of those in our rental fleet. On screen here, you can see a kiosk serving food, and then storage, of course. So these are units that we have in stock available for rent or purchase. So pretty neat.
Yeah, that's very cool. Now, maybe not a lot of homes or even carriage houses, permanent installations. You don't see a lot of that necessarily. But what about like off the grid living or remote locations? Like, and what do they do? Just helicopter them in, or how does this work?
Yeah, great question. So funny you mentioned a helicopter. We have airlifted a workshop up in the Yukon to I forget which mountain it was, but pretty neat to see a 20-foot container, well, twice hauled by a Sikorsky helicopter, and I would have hated to pay that bill, but the client took care of the helicopter. So that was a really neat scenario. Yeah, this is where containers shine. If you are remote, if you are looking for rugged living, if you want to lock it up and not worry about it when you're not there, this is where containers really shine. So as long as we can get them there by truck, it's going to be reasonable. If budget is no option, or how does that saying go? Budget is of no concern. Yes. Not. I still don't have it, but helicopters are the way to go.
Now, we're prone to flooding and fires and all that kind of stuff here in BC. Is there a usage case for emergencies and supporting emergency work?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because this is an area that we're really passionate about and an area that we do a lot of work in. So containers being steel, they're very... they stand up very well to sparks from a wildfire. We know a lot of wildfires spread by just sparks falling. So containers placed in a strategic location away from consumables do very, very well in a fire. So that's a big thing in BC. They're also great for flood, usually post-flood, when you're dealing with salvageable contents and trying to sort what we're keeping, what we're getting rid of. Containers shine there. But because of their durability, because of their portability, we do a lot of work with the Coast Guard. So emergency response there, spill kits inside containers. We do a lot of work with different wildfire associations. And of course, at the provincial level, BC emergency committees, we're there as well. So yeah, containers are a good solution, even from a remote office that needs to be moved as fires move. That's what we do a lot of.
Wow, that's interesting. What about future uses? Is there anything on the verge, if you will, or any uses that aren't commonplace but are kind of like, I see a usage case here. What's new and emerging?
So what we'd love to see in Kelowna and in the other cities that we serve, Surrey, Calgary, is some container markets. They're super funky. There's one in London, England. There's several case studies in the States, one in Vegas, one in New York. And you can build these really funky, almost outdoor malls, almost markets, and all with containers. And like, some friends of mine have built a few of these scenarios, and they are gorgeous. I think Kelowna could really use something like this just to augment what we have in terms of the mall and the standalone shops. This could be one of the neat things is they're smaller footprint shops, so it opens the door to businesses that maybe couldn't afford a normal space in a mall or a commercial building. So yeah, this would be something really neat to see in Western Canada. Toronto has one, And I think that's kind of the next big thing I'd like to see in container world.
Okay. And what about the company? Actually, before we get to that, I want to ask, so all of these usage cases that we've kind of gone through and the development or building out of these containers, are you doing this on site at Secure-Rite? Like, do you have a production facility to do this?
Yeah, so all of our high-end modifications are done right here in Kelowna, which is really cool because it's manufacturing, and Kelowna lost a lot of manufacturing over the last few decades. So we're doing all this work in our factory right here in Kelowna, and it's certified to build to CSA standards, and we ship all over right now, mainly Western Canada, but we are working on some stuff outside of Canada, and that we're very excited about. We think there's huge potential there in the mining and oil and gas sector. And all the high-end stuff is built right here in Kelowna.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's something that's new. And then just for Secure-Rite, the future of Secure-Rite, what do you see? Where's the company going? Do you have a future vision? Are you on a good track where you're at now, or where do you see it going?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So we want to keep growing. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I love growth. That's where I try to focus my time. You know, we have built a great team at Secure-Rite. We've got a general manager managing that team, and my role is to focus on sales and growth. So I'm still grinding every day on the sales front, but also focusing on, you know, where are we going as a company? So we do have very clear targets about how many locations we want to have by 2030, how many locations we want to have by 2050. So we do have plans, and we're just working on that. I'd love to see Western Canada completely served by Secure-Rite within my career, and then my successor will have to take it to the next level likely. We're also working at selling, as I just mentioned, our products beyond Canada, because we have some really neat products that we do a good job of, that there's other industries in other parts of the world that need what we have. Yeah.
Maybe we could bring the website up again. We can just make sure everybody knows how to find you. And it's secure-rite.com?
Correct, yeah. And Rite is spelled RITE.com.
And they'll be able to find out whether information they need to know whether they want to rent, buy, or build.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to chat about?
Wow. Thanks for this convo. It's been a great convo. And yeah, I guess just want to drive home that really ultimately and overarching what we're trying to do at Secure-Rite is we bring people and portable space together in creative and meaningful ways. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what we show up for every single day. You know, how can we bring people and portable space together, and how can we be creative as we do that, and how can it be meaningful? It's got to be more than just money. It's got to be more than just a container. And so we really try to come to work with that every day. I'm just actually looking at a really neat organization, and maybe in our next conversation we'll talk about that, but it's all of the humanitarian stuff that you can do with containers around the world. So one of my friends is involved in this organization, and we're looking at how Secure-Rite can be a part of that. He just got back from a trip in like 15 countries in Africa, visiting sites that have container-based humanitarian businesses. So yeah, we'll save that for another day, but we really believe in prosperity for purpose. So we want to say, okay, how can we take what we do? How can we take our success, and how can we bless the communities we serve, but then the world beyond? So that's kind of where we're heading.
All right. Lucas Griffin, CEO of Secure-Rite Mobile Storage, and more, I'll add. And Lucas, again, thank you for being a sponsor of our Best of Kelowna. And of course, if you're looking for storage solutions and mobile living solutions and everything else that they can do, Lucas is your guy. So thanks again for coming in.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.